Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into the incredible history of artificial intelligence. But, this isn't really a story about code and circuits. Nope. It's about a timeless human dream, the quest to build a mind from scratch. And this idea, it didn't just pop up with the internet, not at all. For centuries, people, philosophers, inventors, even storytellers, they've been totally fascinated by this dream of making an artificial being, a machine that can actually reason and understand. This is the story of how that dream started to become a reality, a quest that started not with silicon, but with an idea. Okay, so to make that ancient dream a reality, you've got to know what you're aiming for, right? We hear the term AI thrown around all the time, but what are we actually talking about? At its heart, AI is really about one thing, creating systems that can do stuff that normally takes a human brain. Things like reasoning, learning from your mistakes, understanding what someone's saying, and solving tricky problems. It's this epic journey to give machines some of the same abilities that we have. Right, but a mind needs a brain, even an artificial one. So before anyone could even begin to teach a machine to think, they first had to build a machine that could, compute. And you have to forget about the sleek little device in your pocket or on your desk. The very first computers, they were giants. I mean, colossal, room-sized machines. Not laptops, not even close. Think massive calculators filling up entire rooms, just whirring and clicking away. And the scale? It was just staggering. Here you see Konrad Zuse's Z3 from back in 1941. It was one of the very first programmable computers in the world. And these guys, these pioneers, they weren't just building fancy calculators. They were literally forging the physical body, the hardware, that this new intelligence would one day call home. So we have a body taking shape. Now, this whole quest needed a name, an identity. And in this summer of 1956, it finally got one. Yep, 1956. That's the magic number. A bunch of brilliant researchers get together at Dartmouth College. Their goal? To figure out if thinking machines were even possible. And right there, at that workshop, they came up with the name, artificial intelligence. Just like that, the field had its official name and, well, its mission. Okay, so we've got a body and we've got a name. What's next? Well, the really hard part? Creating the mind. The software. How on earth do you program a machine to think? What happened next was basically a golden age of ideas, an explosion of creativity. First, in '58, a new programming language called Lisp comes along, and it was a total game changer for AI research. Then, in the '70s, we see the rise of what they called expert systems, basically trying to bottle up human expertise. And by the '80s, fuzzy logic let machines deal with all the gray areas of life, not just simple yes or no answers. Let's stick with those expert systems for a sec. The whole idea was to kind of digitize a person's brain. Imagine taking all the knowledge of a top geologist who knows exactly where to find minerals, or a brilliant doctor who can diagnose rare diseases, and putting that into a computer. This was a huge step in making AI actually useful in the real world. All right, so as these AI tools started getting better and better, more powerful, more sophisticated, a question that used to be pure science fiction suddenly started to feel, well, very real. The big question was this: could a machine actually outthink a person at their own game? Could a pile of circuits and code take on a human grandmaster in a game of pure strategy, like chess? Well, that question set the stage for one of the most epic showdowns in the history of tech. So, in one corner, you have Garry Kasparov, the undisputed world chess champion, a true genius, all intuition and brilliant strategy. And in the other corner, IBM's supercomputer Deep Blue, an absolute monster of a machine that could calculate 200 million chess positions every single second. Just think about that. And the whole world was glued to their seats, totally captivated. I mean, just look at this photo. You can feel the pressure, the weight of that moment. This was it, the ultimate test. Human creativity versus raw, cold, brute force calculation. And then came the day, May 11th, 1997. The thing that many thought was impossible happened. After this absolutely grueling match, Deep Blue won. It beat Garry Kasparov. For the very first time in history, a machine had defeated a reigning world champion in chess. It was more than just a game. A huge symbolic barrier had just been smashed to pieces. But here's the thing.
Deep Blue's victory wasn't the end of the story, not even close. It was really the beginning of a whole new chapter. It showed everyone what was possible, and it basically lit a fire under researchers to aim for even bigger, more ambitious goals.
And now the whole challenge has moved on to totally new, way more complex stuff. Take RoboCup, for example. It's a competition where teams of actual robots, all running on AI, have to play soccer against each other. So we've moved past just one brain against another. Now it's all about teamwork, strategy, and even physically moving around in the real world. So when you look back from these giant room-sized machines to AIs that can beat world champions, the journey has been absolutely incredible. The original quest, remember, was just to build a machine that could think. Well, check, we've kind of done that. So now we're left with a much bigger, much deeper question. What should our quest be now? What do we want these new minds to be thinking about?